Hey everyone, welcome back to my channel. So I am back with another part of my unfinished journals flip through. These are the last few remaining journals that I have that are unfinished that I just want to do a flip through of here for you. These are sort of miscellaneous, that's why I left them for last, because they're just odd ones out. I have here my home journal. So this is kind of a journal that oh my God, I started this during, I want to say quarantine, of just kind of like documenting what my dream home would look like. This is my Daybook of Dreams. I talk about this journal in my unfurling course. But yeah, this is kind of like an analog Pinterest board, or I call it my Daybook of Dreams. Clearly manifesting a new home. It's like a commonplace book. This is about gardening and like manifesting my own garden. Yeah, it's kind of like, how do I describe this? It's like a commonplace book, an inspiration book, collections book, but also of just sort of like what I would want my dream life to look like. It's kind of what this is. So I like pretty things and I like poetry. I save, bringing the garden in, I save like articles that I'm like, oh, I want to do more of that, and quotes and stuff like that. But that's what this is. And this last journal is my joy journal. And it is a Katie Daisy planner that I think it's a last year's, 2024 planner. And throughout the 2024, I just kind of put in here like quotes, pictures, things that I did with my friends that made me happy, like just things like that. And everything that goes in here is things that I'm grateful for, things that bring me joy, comfort, etc. And I have like blank pages everywhere. And so I was just going to keep it going and not just have it for 2024. And because like all these pages in the back are like empty because I never finished it or never continued on with it. So most of these things are like anything that was like an event that made me happy or whatever are definitely 2024 coded. But I feel like if I include like in all the blank spaces things that are from 2025, I can just put the date on it and know that that was for a following year. Anyway, so these are the three, and I'm just going to go one by one and flip them. So let's start with the home journal. We'll do home first. We'll do, let's just do it by size. We'll do the home one first, then we'll do the journal of joy, or the joy journal, and then we will look at the Daybook of Dreams. So this is one that I just made. The cover is made out of an upholstery, oh my God, I cannot speak, fabric. It's one of my faves. This is just a big, fabric swatch that I just kind of use the whole swatch. I love this. This fabric swatch kind of shows up in here, but yeah, I made it the way that I would make all of my fabric journals. This was just one piece of fabric, and then the inside is just canvas. And I used a lot of the Maggie Holmes Garden Party. I think this is Garden Party papers. I loved this. This is kind of like farmhouse paper. But yeah, I'm pretty much documenting like my dream home. And so a lot of these photos are photos from the internet. I like the way that I want the house to look like is it's very white and like kind of like a blue roof or a gray roof, and like blue or green shutters. Like it's very, what are these, like cottage, colonial, Cape Cod style homes. But anyway, this is just kind of like a vision board of my future home. And so I have things here about the house, the features, the rooms, the garden, and then of course just photographs of inspiration of how I would want that to look. And that's all this is. This is like if I had an analog Pinterest board of what I want my home to look like. So I have like a lot of inspiration, and everything is kind of sectioned. So this is the entryway, and all of these photos I think I took off of Pinterest. The sunroom, and I just have notes of like what I want each room to look like. I did try my best to like tab sections off. This is from a magazine. I love this. I want like a French sink, like this kitchen here. And again, it's just that things that these are plates that I really like. This is like an IKEA, fold out thing. This is that swatch again. This is this fabric. I love this. This would make excellent curtains, and I actually have the swatch number here. Yeah, so just images, all these little spaces I kind of kept to write my little notes, and yeah, knobs for the cabinets. Like these are just, it's just like a lookbook. It's like a giant lookbook of what I would want my home to be. This is from an Amity Bloom printable, but I love the colors there. These are the kind of colors, that French blue, and then sort of like a bluish teal green, but like really light and faded and pastel-y. The ceramics, and then again, just more notes. And like a lot of these pieces, like this, these are just product images that I took off the websites because I want those things. Yeah, so this is the kitchen. I kind of got a little creative with this journal, and I have things layered, like pieces of ephemera and stuff like that, but it's pretty much gonna be like a glue book of just things and like my writing. I would love a bay window, like a big bay window that I can dress up as like a little reading nook of some sort, and so that's here. And then these are bedroom inspo, a lot of bedroom inspo, and all the blank pages, they're actually Stalogy papers. That's just for notes. I actually have this bedspread, but these are some swatches because I wanted this day bed in one of these swatches or one of these colors. So I have the swatches there, craft room, of course, and so on. Art studio. A lot of this is not filled out, but a list of things I'll have to buy once I move. But yeah, I think most of this is like blank. The garden, again, it's unfinished journal, so I never really finished it, but I did stick in things. And again, it's supposed to be sort of like an inspiration journal for my future home. And I think that's about it. Yeah, just random papers, not a whole lot in here, but that's this journal. The next one is the Joy Journal. And again, this one's in a Katie Daisy planner that was from last year, and it's in the spiral. So what I did with this, I want to say I probably did take out pages in this. I think I know I glued pages together, and I might have taken out I kept the monthlies. Okay, I have to figure out what I did here. I know I took out some pages and I glued some pages together, and then I left a lot of stuff in. So I left This Planner Belongs To page in because I love this, and I just named it my Joy Journal. I left this, I love the little sentiment that came in the journal, so I kept it because it kind of talked about just like being grateful of the world and nature and stuff like that, and kind of felt aligned with how I was keeping this journal. And then this is kind of like my reason why, as Allie Edwards would call it. I wanted to open this journal with my little orchid, just reason to be grateful and good luck. Photo of that orchid. And then I just kind of embellished this. So this is like, I am putting into this journal things that I'm grateful for. This was things that I was looking forward to in 2024, pictures of things that I am grateful for that bring me joy, experiences, and then I've added like a bunch of quotes. And so how I do the layouts is that I'm just using up my stash. I'm using up my stickers. These are all magazine cutouts. I love the magazine cutouts that have like beautiful quotes and things. And so Find Magic in the Everyday, that's from a Bella Grace magazine. But that's the whole point of this journal, right? And so I started with my orchid because she brought me a lot of joy. And I say brought because I think this is the last year that I'm going to have her, because all of her leaves fell off. And that's like the first time ever of owning her that all of her leaves have fallen off. And so I think this is it. I think this is the end of this orchid. And it makes me really sad. I've had it for 5 years. My mom got it for me during COVID. Quarantine, and I've had it for 5 years, and like I see a lot of I can go on about my orchid, but there's a lot of symbolism to this orchid for me. And for it to be dying in 2025 symbolizes a lot since I've had it since 2020. I was a different person in 2020 than I am in 2025. And all these things that I had to go through from 2020 up until now, it is like it's not a weird growth journey. I don't want to use the word weird, but it's a significant growth journey. And the orchid showed up for me the beginning of each year in a different way. And this year, I don't even know if I took a picture of her, but I have my own apartment now, and my apartment doesn't get a whole lot of light, which is why I'm thinking that it kind of died. But every year she would die, like all of the blooms and all the stems will go away. And then the beginning of the year, she would grow a new stem and new buds. And it's always one stem and the blooms. And it's always the beginning of the year, which for me, a lot of the times it signifies new beginnings and hope and all these things like that. This year, she bloomed a little later than usual. And I think it's because of the lack of light, but she grew 2 stems. And so she had like 4 or 5 blooms. And that's like the most that I've seen her blossom with the 2 stems. And she was so beautiful. And now both stems died. All of her leaves fell off. And I think that was it. I think that was the last hurrah. And I'm in a place, let me get to the point, right? I'm at a place in my life where I feel good. Like I don't feel any inner turmoil. I feel like I'm not fully healed, but I am healing. Like I'm in a good place in terms of the growth process, in terms of the healing that I had to go through. And I feel like she knows, and it's like, you don't need me anymore. You got this, girl. Sort of. I'm reading a lot into my orchid, but she shows up a lot in my journals because she's just so symbolic towards me. So it's really sad that this might be her end, but also I understand why, because I am in a place where maybe I don't need those signs of hope anymore because I feel better and I'm like in a better place. Anyway, I opened up the journal with her because she means a lot. So I kept these in. I don't know why. I think I wanted to keep this, but whatever. We can glue that together. This is my reason why. I dedicate this journal to document the gratitude and the small joys and stuff like that. That is my reason why. Little everyday delights. I love the artwork in this planner, which is why I decided to use it for my joy journal. I actually just bought this planner because I got it really cheap off of Amazon, and I think I got it, I know I got it like, I want to say maybe in March. So it was we were already in the year when I got it, and I kind of did a lot of backfilling in a way, but I got it because I was curious to see what these planners were, because I love Katie Daisy's art. I just don't have anything by her. And so I bought it for the artwork, not so much to use it as a planner, which is why I decided to use it as a journal. But I believe in the beginning of the year, I was keeping up with the dates. So this is the monthly overview. I love, again, each month is a different like artwork. So what I ended up doing was just covering the months up with some grid paper and just using it as straight journaling. And this is where I started using a lot of my magazine pieces. So a lot of these pieces are from a Bella Grace magazine, or it's from a Daphne's Diary, or if it's from a Victoria magazine, like any of the magazines that I clip things from, I'm trying to use them up in here along with my stickers. I have so much sticker. Oh my God, I have so many sticker books and stickers and like bits of ephemera and things like that. And so I'm trying to use all that stuff into this journal. And so this was just what I was looking forward to in 2024, which, you know, I only put things here that brought me excitement and joy. And then I started off with gratitude. And while some of these are date specific, a lot of it is just me filling up the planner and filling up the space. So a lot of the times I just cover things up with grid so that I can do journaling. And I've just been printing out my photos in these faux Polaroid style. I have a template. I'm actually using the template that I have in my shop, and I just put this into these are PNGs, and I put them into a photo editor. I use Affinity Photo. You can use Photoshop, it doesn't matter. And then I drop my photo, I layer it behind it, and then print them out. And so they kind of look like Polaroids, but this is all just glossy paper. And I think this is glossy sticker paper because that's what I've been using lately. So I can just peel it off and stick it down. But this entry was all about how grateful I am for this practice of journaling. These are a bunch of my art journals, all the different covers of all the books that I've made. All of these journals in this photo are ones that I've handmade. And then this is pages of my art journaling. And I think I was talking about journaling, and I was talking about art journaling because that's kind of how I fell into journaling and scrapbooking, was through art journaling. And I was talking specifically about Get Messy because I think in the beginning of 2024, that is when they moved platforms so that they are part of the Ink brand platform, aka Studio Calico, that sort of platform. And they kind of sunset the old website, and so anyone who was a lifetime member was no longer going to be grandfathered in as a lifetime member, and like it was a whole thing. And I've been with Get Messy since the season of Words. I think the season of Words was like 2015 probably. And I remember Kaylee and Lauren's blog posts. I never joined in, but I followed along until 2015, where I was just like, you know what, let's join Get Messy. And if you joined early on when it became a subscription, we were grandfathered in as lifetime members because we were kind of like the original members of this membership in a way. They kind of honored that. But whatever, the partnership with Ink Brands didn't allow for that. So I had a lot of feelings all wrapped up in the gratitude that I have for the Get Messy community and journaling and art journaling and the journaling community at large. And so that is what this page is about. And that's what starts this journal here. This was a bouquet that I got at the time that I absolutely loved, a quote that was in my head. And then what I started to do was each day I was trying to write down little things that I was grateful for each day. And that's kind of what I ended up doing. And then that died really, really quickly because once I skip a day, I get into my head about being behind, and it was all these things. And so I decided to pretty much ignore the dates unless it was something specific. And so I have a lot of quotes. God, I don't know where I saw this one. A bad day for the ego is a great day for the soul. It's beautiful. Like any quotes that kind of really resonated. This was a quote that I heard in, I want to say it was a one little word Zoom call from like 2022 or something. Like it was a few years ago that I kind of wrote down somewhere, scribbled it somewhere, and then it never made it into anything. I remember with my little planner, I keep a Filofax planner. Actually, I think one of the videos probably after this will be what I'm using now, because I've always used a little pocket Filofax, but I kind of want to give an update on it. But I used to just jot down quotes as I hear them in things or as I read them, and they would just live in that little planner in like little scraps and little pages and wouldn't make it into anywhere. So last year I made sure to transfer those into here. And so I have a lot of quotes everywhere. Anything that I find on like Pinterest or Instagram that I save, that I, instead of just saving it into like a folder somewhere, I started printing a lot of it out or copying it down into here because I wanted to keep it. And this was something that I wanted to keep. And then again, these pieces are from magazines. Again, this was one of those images online. Liz always mentions Mary Oliver's Instructions for Living Life. It's something that I go back to all the time. At this point, I have this memorized, but I wanted it to live in here. And so if you need a reminder, Mary Oliver's Instructions for Living Life are pay attention, be astonished, and tell about it. And I talk about that a lot. This is an empty page, and so I have a sticky note up here to remind myself that this is an empty page so that I can use it, now to fill out, because I really would love to fill this whole thing out. And so each month starts with like this beautiful like double page art. You belong here. I love the art. It's so gorgeous. And then now we're in February's monthly view, which I did the same thing. I covered it with paper and I embellished it with, these are all, I think this is Daphne's Diary. That's a sticker that from my shop, and paper, just things like that. This, oh my goodness, this is one of my favorite favorite, what you call a spoken word poetry from Andrea Gibson. As I'm recording this, Andrea is no longer with us. They passed away, I want to say maybe 2 weeks ago. And I shared this in my stories the day that they passed, because when I found, like, when they posted this on Instagram, I was going through a lot of things, like I was scared. I was not happy. I was looking for love, or like wanting love, or longing for love, like all these things. And then they just dropped this beautiful spoken word of wisdom. And I remember saving it. I remember including it somewhere else. And I'm just like, when I knew that I needed to fill certain spaces up, especially these, like, so the monthly pages, I wasn't sure what I was going to do with them. So I kind of skipped them. So when I realized, I can just cover them up and use with journaling to fill them up with something. And so this, I never really fully wrote down anywhere. And so it needed to go in here, because I'm going to read this, because this is like, I love this. I love this. It is Andrea's 5 counterintuitive mental health tips that changed their life. And it did change mine, or changed my perspective on things. 1, if you want to feel less fear, if you want less anxiety, stop trying to keep yourself safe. Stop chronically trying to protect yourself. This I know. When you feel fear, a lot of my anxiety comes from worry, but the worrying comes from fear of something, usually the unknown. But a lot of my fear, a lot of things that I was scared of, I realized that I just needed to do the thing that scared me, or I needed to kind of confront the thing that scared me in order to feel less fear. And it doesn't make sense, but it does, to stop trying to keep yourself safe. Just gotta do it. Just gotta go head first into the fear. That's why they say, feel the fear and do it anyway, right? That's that. 2, if you want to be happier, wholeheartedly welcome your grief. Oh my goodness. When I've learned the skill of sitting, how I like to phrase it, sitting in the mud with your emotions, with your feelings. And a lot of those feelings are hard. And a lot of those feelings are, for the most part, stem from this unexplained sadness. And unexplained sadness could stem from a lot of different things. And for me, it was stemmed from loss and the grief of losing people and things and futures and just all these things, ideas about myself, losing myself. The minute that I learned to sit in that grief and not repress it or not escape from it, the quicker I was able to get over my emotions, to get over that sadness. Again, doesn't make any sense to you're just gonna have to do the thing. You just gotta feel your feelings. You just gotta do the thing. Feel it, but then also take action and just, kind of meet it. Soak it in. I don't know if I'm explaining that correctly. Let us go on. Number 3, if you feel like your life is lacking something, if you are struggling to feel abundant, put your attention on what you have to give. They always say that you're more happier when you give than when you receive. I know for me, that's a thing. I love giving people things. I don't necessarily like receiving stuff from people. I don't know. It's weird, but there's just so much joy, especially if it's unbridled joy of just giving something, or just giving a gift, gifting someone something, whatever it is, that means something, that says that, hey, I was listening. There's so much joy in that. It's just, and this whole idea of I think I mentioned this in a different video or a different post, but my mom, she is abundant. And the reason why she's abundant is because she's constantly giving. She's giving herself to people. She's giving things to people. She's helping people. She's always giving. And she always tells me an example. My mom is very religious, so she always quotes scripture, but how she explains, I don't know what the scripture is, but the example is that, if you walk around with clenched fists, there's no way that God can put anything in your hand. But if you walk around with your palms open, your hands open, you can receive things. Meaning, if you walk around holding on to things and not giving people things, not being open to losing things or whatever, there's no way that the universe or God can give you anything back. You have to be open and willing to give or release in a way, right? In order to be abundant. So, number 4, if you're feeling out of control, stop trying to control things. I'm a control freak, or I'm a recovering control freak. I get that from my mom. That is very true. And finally, if you are struggling to feel loved, if you're feeling unloved, love. Just love, 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 love. Just love. I love this. I mean, it's so simple and so straightforward and practical, and yet we forget all the time to do these things when we're feeling any one of these emotions. So this had to live in here because I absolutely love this. I would always go back and rewatch that Reels whenever I needed it, when I found it. I don't even know when this was posted. It was a couple of years ago. And I would just rewatch it because I needed the reminder. Andrea had a gift. They really had a gift. And it was a very sad day. I was being foolishly optimistic. When was it? I think the beginning of June. So there's a documentary that will come out on, I think it's Apple TV Plus in November. It's called Come See Me in the Good Light. And it is a documentary about Andrea and their partner, Megan, and navigating life with cancer diagnosis and everything. And it's about poetry, it's about love, and it's about friendship. And it's a beautiful documentary. So it premiered at Sundance, and then I think they were just submitting it through the circuits of the film festivals, and I was able to get tickets to go see it at the Tribeca Film Festival because I really wanted to see this film. And at that point, I don't think they announced that it was going to be streaming anywhere yet, but it's going to be streaming this November on Apple TV Plus. If, you want to see it, that's where it's going to be. And so when I saw that it was coming to New York, I was like, I know I have to go see this. I've never watched a film at the Tribeca Film Festival, which is wild. It's so easy to get tickets too. So I did, and it was such a beautiful film. So funny, so heartbreaking, so joyous. It is the ant space. There's so many different ant spaces that you navigate just watching this film, and I'm pretty sure that there's those same ant spaces that we as the viewer experienced were the ones that Andrea and Meg were living through. It was so beautiful, and at the end, I mean, it's no secret that Andrea expressed that their cancer was uncurable. But I still had this foolish optimism that they will have more time, because I wanted them to have more time, because I think they deserved to have more time. Because they gave and gave and gave so much of themselves for people like me, through their art and through their poetry, through their words, and it just didn't seem fair. It doesn't seem fair. I was really sad that Monday when I saw the news on Instagram. I was really, really sad for a person that I don't even know. It's a parasocial relationship, right? What I know of them is what they kindly shared with the rest of us via Instagram and YouTube and their Substack and this film that I had just seen. And I don't know, it's not often that I feel something so deep and so a grief so deep and profound for a complete stranger. I think the last time I felt kind of this way about somebody who I thought really needed to have some more time on the earth was for a YouTuber. Her name was Claire Wineland. I felt the exact same way that I feel about Andrea when Claire passed away. Just, I don't know, like, these are just people whose words were so encouraging and really affected me in a profound way. And it's kind of unfair that they're not here to continue to live their life, you know? It's, yeah. Anyway, I went on a long rant about this, but Andrea Gibson, I will leave a link to their Substack, to the YouTube, to the Instagram in case you've never heard of them. Everyone was sharing Andrea's words that week, and literally everybody, almost every, like a whole bunch of people that I follow that I didn't really know also followed Andrea were sharing their words. Like, we all were following Andrea, and I think they really blossomed during quarantine. I think that kind of gave them a wider platform because I didn't know them prior to 2020. So yeah, just we love this. I enjoy just a random list of things that I enjoy. And I think I had just finished this book, so I left it the date. But again, if I didn't have anything for the dates, I just covered everything up, added stickers, added paper. This is a quote here. This is also a quote, I believe. This is a quote that I found. I guess I copied something from Rainbow Salt on Instagram, because I write here. And yeah, again, a lot of quotes. This was journaling, and I think it was from this Friday, and it just went down. So again, I still kept with the dates for dated things, but other than that, I just kind of ignored the dates. These are two quotes here. This is one big long passage, so a lot of the times I will write out long big passages in here that I resonated with. This was an entire spread that I did about my dog. So last year was a hard year for Joe and a hard year for us, I think. And this was in the beginning of the year. If you all know, if you didn't know, my dog passed away the ending of last year. It was literally like 2 days after Christmas. And so I did this in February of 2024. And it's just talking about, you know, having him for almost 17 years and just kind of the struggles, not the struggles, but like, it's hard taking care of a sick dog. And I think I needed to journal out what I was feeling, because I was feeling a lot of frustration. He was starting to get dementia, and that's a whole different thing with the dogs. And it's like, just, he would pace at night, and, you know, sometimes I want to sleep, but I would have to stay awake with the dog and, you know, comfort him and like feed him, because I think he would kind of forget where his food was, and like, it was work. And I was feeling it. Like, I was like, where is my dog? I miss my dog. And it was unfair for him, for me being frustrated. So I journaled all the things out, and I'm just like, I ended up journaling like all the things that I'm grateful for about him. And this was really soothing for me personally to kind of change my perspective a little bit. Like, yes, I was frustrated that I have to do all this extra work now because he needs all this extra care. And I think I kind of got a little resentful and just all these feelings, right? But I just had to remind myself why I was grateful for him, right? And so this is the page dedicated to him. I used one of my favorite photographs of him at the time. And yeah, like I sometimes you just need that reminder when you're like frustrated and going through something, that it is not you, it's not the dog's fault, right? He's just old. He's just old and just needs this extra care. And you kind of have to remind yourself why, right? Why do you have him? Why is he here? It's because he gives you X, Y, and Z, and you kind of forgot that because you have to give more now to him now that he's older. We're human. It's insane how we all go through that, and not just with the dog, but just with anything. And you just kind of have to pull yourself back and remind yourself, like, wait, but what's the other side of it? You know, something that I was thankful for at the time, more beautiful artwork. I love Kitty Daisy's artwork. I wish this was a journal and just not like a planner. because the artwork is so pretty. So this is the March calendar, and I think I'd recently was looking through some things, like some old photos or something with my friend, like old high school photos and things like that. And I saw these, which were consecutive photos, but they kind of escalated. And then I don't know, I think some years ago, more recently, when my friend Steph came to visit, we were at the exact same spot that this photo was taken, and they did like a pose again. And I kind of put them side by side and printed them out, and then just wrote about my friends, how grateful, how blessed I am for my friend group. And this is just all about them. And this just represented that, because this was in high school and this was like 20 years later. and it wasn't planned. That's the wild thing. We were in the spot, which doesn't have that tree pot anymore. This is at Lincoln Center, and from high school, it's completely new, and they just posed the same way in the same spot. It was great. It's just, yeah, I just had to write about my friends because I'm very, very grateful for them, more so now than I think I ever before in my life. So we're in March. This one actually kept the date. I actually snapped the date. This was a great first date. That's all. This was probably one of the best first dates that I've ever been on, like ever. And I was very grateful for it. And I loved it. It brought me joy again. Went in here. This spread is all about my mom. I don't think this is date specific. It's just this picture was not taken that day. This picture was taken. I took this picture with my brother's camera when we were in Disneyland Paris, and that's my beautiful mom. And I wrote a very long thing about my mom. I did date it. I guess I wrote this March 10th, and I wanted to remember that I wrote it March 10th, but this is what I mean. Like, this is all like planner stuff. And so I kind of wrap the paper around, and then I do clusters of things to cover up certain things with stickers. And I love it. It's very like scrappy. And then I put a photo of her and then like made a little vignette with stickers. And I try to play with the artwork that's already on the page. So that's my mom. And then this is a poem that I probably got off of Instagram, printed it out and put it here. This is not done, but this was an empty page that I had in my journal. And this is actually from this year. This is a picture of me and my friends from this year that I wanted to put here and then do my journaling. Clearly, again, this is a work in progress journal. It's not finished, and I have a lot of stuff that I need to print out and put in here. More quotes. This is, I don't know, I had the best day today. I don't know why I had the best day, but I did, March 22nd, and I wrote about it. And I did the same thing with the stickers to cover up the dates. Another Instagram post that I needed to put out here. Things that make me smile. So this day I just wrote a short list of things that made me smile. I left all the art pages alone. This was the monthly, and I used the April monthly to talk about me and my birthday. And so in April, I wasn't actually here for most of April. I was in Japan with my friends. So this is actually a picture of me at the Duffy and Friends show. I forget what it was called. It was like the dinner in the show. And I was dressed up as Gelatoni. And each of my friends who came was dressed up as a different Duffy character, and I had just bought my Gelatoni plush, and I basically look like I'm 14 in this photograph when I am not. And I'm just talking about, you know, my 35 years here on this earth and how grateful I am for things, and grateful to experience this with my friends, and grateful to be 16 and cute and at Disney, Tokyo Disney Sea for that matter, with my Gelatoni. Yeah, that's what I use that for. This is one of my favorite passages. Jeanette Winterson, she wrote this on her Substack years ago. Oh my goodness, like maybe like when she first got Substack, and it's about spring. And this is awesome. I'm pretty sure this is in a different journal. I'm pretty sure I've shared this either in a blog post or in a newsletter. I love this entry. It needed to go in here. because I needed the space to fill, but also it was April and I just love it. So that's things that I love and bring me joy. That's what I put in here. So this is all about Japan, and I again printed out pictures of Disney, printed out my friends who came with me to Disney, printed out friends who came with me to Tokyo. And like, again, this trip brought me so much joy because I literally told my friends, hey, I want to celebrate my birthday in Tokyo Disneyland and in Tokyo. Y'all want to come? And they all said yes, and I love them to bits, and we had such a great time. We spent so much money, but we had such a great time. And so I had to put that in here because, again, I wasn't around for April, and so I don't really have much. So I have Post-it notes on the pages that I can fill up. And May's, I can fill this up. I did put a quote here, another Mary Oliver quote, but anything with a Post-it note, I can fill up. When was the last time you were really excited about something? I think I wanted to use this as a journal prompt, and I never did the journaling part of it. So I kept it. I will go back and fill it. These are blank. This is kind of when I started falling out of this in a way, because that happens. So I have a lot of clusters of photos that I wanted to get in here, but I don't have anything written around it. Melody Beatty. More artwork. So June is all set up. I love this picture, but I clearly didn't do any of the journaling. So again, Post-it notes. This spread is all about my jar of artist dates. I don't keep the jar anymore, but I haven't been doing many artist dates lately, but I'm so grateful and appreciative of this. I think I took this picture, but I just loved all of my journals that I made. So this is just another ode of gratitude to my journaling. This here is clipped straight out of a Susanna Conway's book. So for Susanna Conway's book, this I know. I have one that sits in my bookshelf, and that's the one that I read and the one that I highlight and everything. And then for one of my one little word journals, I actually bought a second copy. I bought a used, well, they're both used, but I bought a second used copy for like $3, and it was like, not very good used copy. I guess that's why it was $3. And I basically gutted it so that I can create an altered book journal and use that for my one little word. So I have the insides of like all of the book pages, and so I remember going through them all and just kind of cutting out passages and phrases and stuff like that. And so this one's straight from the book. I put it in there. This entry is all about the summer solstice last year, and I went to a jazz and journaling event. This is a picture of my journal at the time, and then just decorated. So this one is date specific. This is a 2-page spread all about one of my favorite cafes in Brooklyn. This is Flower Cat in Greenpoint. And yeah, this is a picture of the entryway of Flower Cat. And this is kind of where I go. I do journaling class events. I do other events here. I get my tarot readings here, my birth chart readings here. It's just a cute, cozy place. And it's very granny chic. And it's just really cute. I just love it. So it got a spread here. So this is what the calendars look like, and all I do is cover them up and then embellish. But yeah, I think this is where I started to fall out a bit. This was a picture of me wearing a pair of Delia's jeans. These are one of my favorite pair of jeans. These jeans I've had like since high school, maybe middle school. They're from like 2000 and something, 2005 maybe. They still fit me, but they're true vintage Delia's jeans, and they have patches everywhere. Oh, they're one of my favorites. So I wore them, I guess, around this time, and I took a picture. This was supposed to be an entry. So this was my thumbnail for Junk Journal July. I was invited to participate in the video hop, and I was supposed to journal about that because I was very grateful for that, and I didn't. So I have pictures in here, like I said, that I need to go back and like do the journaling. This one I did. This was a day at the Brooklyn Botanic Garden that was really fun, and so I did like a whole spread for it. And then this day, these are my friends. I love this picture. We did an afternoon tea for our friend Jules's birthday this day, so I put that there. August monthly is all covered. I don't know why July's isn't, but this is an image from a Victoria magazine, and I didn't really do journaling there. And yeah, so I have pictures in here, but I don't have the writing. I kind of skipped around, it seems. This was an event at Flower Cat, Art Your Chart, and this is my birth chart. We had to kind of do an illustrated version of our birth chart. I loved this. This was amazing, so I had to journal a lot about it. This was journaling class's birthday party. It's a picture of all of us ladies. This is the journal that I made Emily that day. And so this one's entry specific. So this one happened on the 28th. And so that's why I have it here, but it takes up the whole spread. And some quotes. I think this is when I started, this is kind of when I fell out of it. And I think some pages have quotes. This was a quote, and then this was sort of the journaling to the quote. So this wanting something desperately doesn't always make it happen if the conditions aren't right. Katie posted this in an Insta story, and like I had to pause and like listen to her and like jot it down. This hit me like straight in the heart, and it put so many things that I was going through into perspective. This is journaling about that and grateful for it. Yeah, I loved that. This is a cutout from a Bella Grace magazine. It's a Neil Gaiman quote. What else? Yeah, so a lot of these pages are blank, and I kind of want to go and fill them up with things. This is a quote. This is a quote. This is actually my friend Remy. Hey, I remember this. So this was a full moon, and his mom had sent him a picture of the moon in France. And like we all in the States were like looking at our full moons, like, and Remy lives in Albuquerque, he doesn't live in New York anymore. And he kind of wrote in the chat, it's nice knowing that however far apart we all are, we all see the same moon. I thought that was so sweet and so cute. So of course it went into my journal, and he said it. He shared that with us November 15th on the full moon there. But yeah, I gotta go back in, and I want to use these pages to add more memories and more quotes and more things of joy and things like that, because I kind of just didn't. I think the rest of it's pretty blank. So those are my plans for this journal, is to, I have a whole folder on my computer, on my desktop, where I got to print out all the images that I want to get in here and just print them out, cut them up, stick them in, and then go back and kind of work through building out the pages and building out the spreads. And so that is my joy journal. And the last journal that I have here to share is my Daybook of Dreams. And like I said, this book I talk more about this in my unfurling course, but this book is like a commonplace book. Like, think of it as a commonplace book. Think of it as an analog Pinterest board. Think of it as like an inspirational board, like a book of inspiration, inspiration. It's my Daybook of Dreams. I put things in here that I love the look of, love the aesthetic of, want more of in my life. I would love my life to look like the images and the spreads in this book. And I put quotes in here. I do some journaling where I kind of like manifesting certain things. That's where the name Daybook of Dreams comes from, but it essentially is a commonplace book. And this is an altered book journal. It was an art journal that I made for Get Messy, and I didn't use it. I kind of half used it and then abandoned it. So I repurposed it, and like I gutted those pages and put new pages. And so it's a mixture of book pages and like printables and grid paper and that sort of thing. And it's a Secret Garden book. The cover I kind of left pretty much intact. I did try my best to clean it because it was a used book that I bought at Strand for $2. Has some fabric on it and some lace back here. And then the inside I covered with this beautiful 7-berry fabric. Apparently this Secret Garden is a very rare, sought after edition of the Secret Garden. Mine was $2 at Strand because all the pages were scribbled on by a child with thick crayon. So a lot of the pages I had to get rid of when I gutted it because they were just completely covered in crayon markings, like scribbles, and the rest of it I did use. But Yeah, I kept this because this was intact and it's so, so pretty. And then this was from the art journal that I had repurposed. And you can actually see the journaling in the background of this gesso. But what I did was I kept this, but then reworked it. So I covered it in gesso, covered it in more paint, added more things. I added this wood veneer, said hello. And, you know, just to make it look like this. This is so pretty. I would love to make more art journal stuff like this. But I don't know what I'm going to put here. I'll probably put a passage or a quote or something there. But for right now, it is blank. This is what I'm talking about. So this is like a whole entry on happiness. I called it Field Notes on Happiness, and it's just different quotes, some from Eat, Pray, Love. I have my James Baraz, 10 Steps to Awakening Joy. If you take the unfurling course, you would know about that. Yeah, just everything that's about happiness. This image is from a magazine, and then this label is an Amity Bloom printable, and then these pieces are from a Pink Fresh Studio collection. That's another wood veneer from Heidi. And then this here is a Polaroid. This is a cut file in my shop. It says today. I just backed it with some paper and embellished it. And in here is some pressed flowers. These are some buds from my orchid. I don't know what year these are from, but these are the buds from my or the blooms from my orchid. When they fall, I tend to press them and put them in my journals. So yeah, this is all about happiness. This is an entry about heartbreak, about love and heartbreak. And I think I put a positive spin on it. Notes on Unraveling the Heart. That piece is from Susanna Conway, from her book. And her book is all about loss and grief. And that's a special type of heartbreak when you lose somebody that you love, but not because they left you or anything. They just passed away. My heartbreak was all of that. It was about heartbreak of somebody that you love passing away, a heartbreak of somebody leaving who's still very much alive, and try to see the bright side or the positive in that. Sort of what I like to call the collateral beauty, right? The beauty that comes from the grief. And so that's what this entry was about. This was about manifesting my new home. This, again, another magazine image. This is also another magazine image. Most of these images are from a Victoria magazine, I think. But this is one of my favorite Mary Oliver poems that I copied into here. Most of this is from my garden printable. I forget what this is called. I'll try to leave links down below to everything. And this is all about what I would like my garden to look like. So if I ever get a house, I would love a garden. This is a photo of a squirrel that I took. This is from Maggie Holmes and types of plants and flowers. This is a little scrap that I made, and just some journaling about my garden. I'm trying to manifest this garden, you know. So I love this. This makes me so happy. I think I have a video of me working in this, and I'll try to leave the video in the cards so you can check that out. This is a magazine image. This was from one of my printables that I just put here, just like a little thoughts. So I left this space to put some journaling or another poem or a quote or something. So the purpose of this journal, I have a tendency, so this is my Hobonichi A5 pencil board. And you can see here that this journal is bigger than A5. So I bought this because it's so pretty, and I just use it in here because I don't really work in this size. I normally work in A6, which is this size. So, but I have a tendency of collecting images from magazines that are huge. And a lot of the times I don't want to cut them down to put them into these tiny little journals. And so I've been thinking that I'm going to use this journal solely for those bigger images that I just keep collecting. This is another one of those images. I actually used this in a different journal that I got rid of, and I wanted to keep her, so I need to glue her down. But this is what I'm talking about. This is from a Daphne's Diary magazine, and it is an article, 5 tips to change a habit, that I wanted to keep. And I can tear this out and keep it, but it's just so much better in a journal. You know what James always says? It's not junk if it ends up in a journal. I have piles and piles of pages of magazines that I've ripped up and collected, but they're so big that I don't have a journal for them. So I'm planning moving forward to put all those things into this journal. And I feel like that would be like such a great way to get back into this journal, is to, like, I have a stack of magazine images and articles and I just need to get them in here. So yeah, you can see the big images, and then I will pair them up with passages. So this was in a Victoria magazine article and I just wanted this snippet, so I just copied it out and put it in here. This was about journaling. This image you can see is not even glued here, so I'm gonna have to glue that in. This is another image. It was like a centerfold, so you can see where the crease was, but I loved the quote with the image and I wanted that in my journal. So I put it in my journal. And I think this is the second, this article, Bringing the Garden In. I loved this article and I wanted to keep it. This is all about bringing the flowers from your garden into your home and into your life. Again, my whole purpose for this is to include passages and poems and thoughts and studies on things that I want to cultivate more of in my life, that I want to manifest more of into my life. And so yeah, I had to stick this whole article in here. I mean, I think that's pretty much it. That's what I have in here. But yeah, my plan is to do that, to look through all the pages, because I have like a whole stack of pages that I ripped out of magazines, look through those and get some of those bigger pieces into here. And I think that would be a great way to get back into this journal, is to start putting in those bigger images. These are like full page images, getting them back into this journal, because really this is the only big journal that I have, and I would love to continue to fill it up some more. So I'm definitely gonna hop back into this journal and I might talk more about it. I'm planning to do a Techo Kaigi video after this one to talk about like everything that I've been working in currently, and this one I'm adding to that lineup because I really need to get back into this. And so yeah, that is everything. Those are my journals, my Daybook of Dreams, my Joy Journal, and my Home Journal. I'm definitely gonna start getting back into this one because I'm inspired. I'm inspired to use it now, to stick all those magazine images in. This one, I think I'm probably not gonna finish this one in a while, because this one was all about like my home and I was so obsessed with buying a house. I ended up getting an apartment instead. And so I'm loving settling into my apartment and I'm not really into this. In the future, I do want a home. And so I guess once I have that home, I will get back into that journal. But priority is this one, because I think this one is kind of a low effort. Just get the images in to the journal and see how that inspires you. And then I really need to get back into this one because I do have that folder full of images that I need to print out and get into here. And I would just love to fill this up. And there's so many blank pages that I can go back in and add some more things to. So those are my journals. These are the last of the unfinished journals that I have. You can see that I have a lot of unfinished journals, but I also am working in a whole bunch of journals, just journals. But yeah, I really hope you enjoyed these videos. I hope you enjoyed looking through my unfinished journals, particularly because I have so many of them. And a lot of these journals I haven't really shared in depth because they're not finished, pretty much. But yeah, I really hope you enjoyed looking at these journals. Thank you so much for watching, and I guess I'll see you all in the next video. Bye, friends.